Hello, everyone. I am Mimi Lichtenstein, and today on Adventures in Luxury Travel, we are talking all about Croatia. Croatia is a place that is on a lot of people's bucket lists, especially if they've been to many different places in Europe. And it is an amazing place to go. It has 1,000 islands, beautiful hotels, stunning scenery, and I am very happy to introduce you all to Dolores Jakolic. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
Wow. Yes.
I've been practicing. She is one of my favorite experts on Croatia, so I'm excited to have her here today. Welcome, Dolores.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And so maybe you want to just give everybody a little bit about your background. Tell us how you came to be somebody who gets to introduce lots of Americans and others from around the world to your beautiful country.
Sure. Well, I started to work a little bit in the travel industry in teenage years, I guess, when one of the first jobs was in the hotels and restaurants as well. But it wasn't until college when I actually studied culture in tourism business. So it was kind of getting into travel industry slowly. And I had a student exchange program actually in the States. And that's where I got in touch with a lot of American clientele, working in a fast-paced environment of a restaurant in New York City. And when I came back, I started to work with different hotel companies, but I really wanted to be in a sort of a travel agency, like a destination management, because I felt that it was that way you kind of promote your country the best. And we like to say that we're the best ambassadors of our country. So that's something I really love about my job. It kind of lets you showcase the best you have of your country, and you plan people's leisure time, which is kind of the most rewarding thing you can do, I guess. So.
And I think one of the things that you and I both have in common, and I love about working with you, is that your clients are your biggest inspiration. So
yeah, we love to say that. Yeah, we're actually proud to say that we've never done the same trip twice. So it's always a new inspiration. It's always, I just had a request for, it's an anniversary, so let's do a dinner in a vineyard, and you kind of you listen to what people like, and you create a perfect itinerary for them. So whatever they want, we make it happen, along with some other ideas that are our own. So it kind of blends well together.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, let's dive in. Actually, there's one item I wanted to show first, and that is the overview of our conversation today. So you and I will go over the main areas of Croatia, talk about some of the big cities, talk about some of the beautiful, outdoorsy kind of, I don't know if you call them your national parks, and obviously the coast and the beautiful islands. And then we'll dive into experiences, off the beaten path places, and some of your favorite hidden gems. And throughout it all, we'll talk about favorite hotels, some of which are brand new and opening up this year. So we're excited for those. And then, as we always do, wrap it up with some over-the-top ideas for people who want to kind of blow the budget and do something super splashy, and then some takeaway tips. So we'll start with the overview of Croatia. So when you think of, people making decisions about going to different parts of Croatia, what do you normally suggest?
So for a 101 Croatia itinerary, which is pretty basic, it's a week-long trip that we most commonly get asked about. This is the Dalmatian coast, which is split to Dubrovnik, pretty much, via the islands of Hvar and Korčula and the others. So this would be like a week. You can fly into Split for a couple of nights. Then we usually take the boat around different islands and finish in Dubrovnik. So this would be like a full week's itinerary.
Okay.
If the clients have more time, I love to include Istria, and that's one of my favorite regions. It's in Croatia's northwest, so it's on the coast, but it's not really a typical beachy destination. It's more about rolling hills and very green scenery in the inland. And natural sort of add-on to Croatia is also Montenegro, so you can do it as a post trip after Croatia, or Slovenia, that can be done beforehand, Ljubljana and Lake Bled. And also a lot of people fly into Zagreb, which is also not to be missed. It's the capital in the north, and it has a lot of international connections. So it's pretty easy to fly into. And we have a beautiful countryside region and the wind region there as well. So it really depends how much time people have, but for 2 weeks, let's say you can cover it all pretty much.
Yeah. And so when you're looking at, if somebody is flying into Zagreb internationally, and then when they want to get down to Split, for example, what's your best suggestion for transportation?
Well, we usually do a private transfer from Zagreb via Plitvice Lakes National Park. It's kind of halfway. So from Zagreb, it's about 1.5 to 2 hours drive down to Plitvice. Then the clients spend a beautiful day hiking and walking around the national park, which we like to call the green fairy tale because it's really what it is.
Yeah.
And then they continue by car down to Split. Oh, that is Zagreb. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So should we start? Maybe we'll start with Zagreb and go from there. Okay. And obviously it's stunning. It has gorgeous rooftop and skyline for sure.
Yeah. In terms of architecture, it's more similar to Vienna, whereas the rest of Croatia is, let's say, the coastal part is more similar to Venice. Mm-hmm. So it really stands out in terms of architecture and appearance. And it's the capital, and we like to call it the laid-back capital because it's kind of the biggest city in Croatia, but it's only 1 million people, so I guess it's not that big. I'm kind of biased because I live there. I chose to live there, although I'm from the coast. So locals love the buzzing vibe. It's the busiest place. It's the place to be to live and work in Croatia. And tourists love it because of it's lively. Everything is out on the streets, al fresco dining. So it has a lot of quirky museums, great restaurants, and we like to do a museum tour there. We even have a museum of broken relationships that I happened to work at years ago.
I actually had that on my map. I don't know where I first read about it.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds super interesting.
Yeah, they opened one in Hollywood, too.
Say that again?
They opened one in Hollywood. It's like a franchise now.
Oh, that's so funny. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And so when you're staying in Zagreb, I think this is one of our favorite hotels. Tell us a little bit about the Esplanade.
The best hotel is Esplanade for sure. It is 5-star, but it's kind of elegant and boutique. It has a very Art Nouveau kind of building, and it's peculiar because it's dating from 1925. It was originally built to be a luxury hotel to host travelers on the Orient Express. So what you're looking at is the lobby that it remained, the clocks and everything remained the same for almost 100 years.
Wow.
So it's very historic, and the rooms have that old world glam and charm, and it's the perfect hotel after a long flight to relax in.
And how many rooms are at this hotel? How big is it?
It's I think around 100, not too big. It could be still considered boutique-y.
Nice. Yes, we like boutique-y. Yeah. And then, so if you're in Zagreb, you mentioned the museum. There's lots of great museums. People also sort of spread out into the countryside to go see castles or other things.
Yeah, the scenery on the north of Zagreb is very hilly. It's just beautiful. It looks like, I don't know, very, very idyllic scenery in general. So you have castles that are historic. You have restaurants that are on these hills with the view. So it's really somewhere you can spend a great day out. And also there is another cool museum, which is a Neanderthal Museum. It's by the town of Krapina. It's the huge excavation site of the Neanderthal, which was found right here in Croatia. So that's another fun stop for families or for anyone who's in the area. And the region is also known for wines. So we can do wine tastings there as well. So it's a great, day in the nature, countryside scenery, museums, and a little bit of drinking. So they're known for their drinking.
I know a lot of Americans are very much missing Europe. So when we talk about things like this, it just makes me want to go there even more.
Drink.
Okay, I'm just going to follow along with your pictures sort of for our order. So the next one, which I have trouble pronouncing Croatian words. What is it?
It's Rovinj.
Rovini. Okay, tell us about Istria and Rovini.
Well, it sounds Italian because it used to be Italian for quite a bit of time in the past, and this is the region that I talked about, that it's rolling hills and not very beachy, but on the water. And this is the most picturesque town in Croatia, probably. They call it also the most photogenic town. You have these colorful houses on the rocks, and it's very romantic. unbelievably picturesque once you're there. And the region is actually known for truffles, one of 3 regions in Europe that is a truffle farming region. And we do this fun experience with a private truffle hunt with a local family. And it's interesting because they have their own woods. So it's not like it's a wood or a forest owned by the state where you go and hunt for truffles. It's their own private property. So they always leave, they don't harvest them. They always leave something for our clients. And people love this because they really get dirty. They go into the woods, they search with their truffle dogs. I think they have 7 of them, and they're all called in Latin names for different kinds of truffles.
Oh, really? And so just
they're
out of curiosity, do you bring all 7 with you on one hunt, or they only bring
no. I think they pick and choose. Somebody's more tired, somebody's less tired, somebody hunted yesterday, somebody's cranky, whatever. They know them, so they kind of pick and choose, but I think it's usually 2 or 3.
Okay. I will say that we get, I believe, I don't know about truffles, but we get chanterelles and other wonderful mushrooms where I live. And I've gone out hunting for them on friends' properties. And it is so much fun to sort of like, eventually you just see one, right? And you're like, is that really one? Maybe it is. Okay, I'll pick it. And then taking that back and making dinner with it is so special.
Well, that's what we do. They do a cooking class with it afterwards. So if clients have more time, they really learn how to make Istrian. It's called fuji. It's a special kind of, well, you can translate it as a gnocchi, I guess, but it's more of a pasta, something between a pasta and a gnocchi. So they teach them how to do that. And of course, they use the catch of the day to make the lunch. So this family is really really nice and engaging with their visitors.
With clients. So I will say I'm putting that on my list for my next visit to Croatia for sure.
Bring your dog.
And this, I didn't even show this. So this is one of the truffle hunting dogs?
Yeah, that's a mother and a daughter, and that's a dog, yeah, one of them.
So cute. Okay, well, for people who love animals and truffles, it's a great excursion. For sure.
Kids love it, adults love it, foodies love it, everybody loves it. So.
Yeah. All right. Okay, what's up next?
Well, what's up next is a Meneghetti wine hotel. It's a hotel where we have our clients stay when they're exploring Istria. As you can see, it's situated amidst a vineyard, and it has an in-house winery. They have the best wines that are really top-notch. I have one here, maybe for later on. So it's really for special occasions. And the honeymoon that I told you about, they're going to have a dinner. If you see this huge oaks in the right hand side, they have a huge dining table for 20 people, and it's just going to be the 2 of them, and it's going to be like a very lush food and wine pairing in a vineyard. So it's a Relais Chateau hotel. They have this kind of rustic decor in rooms, and these are residences, like little cottages, and some of them even have a private pool. And the property itself, it doesn't even have, I think, 39 or 40 rooms altogether, but they have 3 swimming pools and a nice spa, the winery, beautiful restaurant, Michelin recommended. So it's really a great place to relax. Although it's in the nature, you can see the sea. It's about 1 kilometer, and they also have a little beach club of their own. So it's not too far. It's like a hike beach.
It's so nice to pair, going to be in Zagreb and then alternating that with a beautiful, countryside hotel. So
yes,
and then pairing it
for sure. A nice change of scenery for sure.
Absolutely, and then from there go on potentially to the beach.
Well, yes, this is a different, this is also in Istria. It's in Rovinj, the little picturesque town that I told you about before. You can see it behind it. This is what this hotel overlooks. And we like to call it a $1 million view because it really is. You have this infinity plunge pool overlooking the beautiful town of Rovinj. So this is on the water. So it really depends what you want to do. If you have maybe clients that really want to be on the water, this is the hotel where you can spend a week at. And do different explorations of Istria from there. So you can do different activities, or if you have clients that prefer staying in the vineyard kind of hotel, you have both. So you can even combine the 2 if you want to splurge at Meneghetti and spend some time here too. So it's like nice. They have a great spa, great view. This is a new hotel, and it's getting into a virtuoso, I think, this year.
And I think it feels so very European when you have the pool on the coast overlooking, in the.
That's what it is. Just very cliches are there because they're true.
Well, it is beautiful. I was trying to actually expand the picture so I could have it full screen, but I can't figure out how to do that. So we're just going to go with it as
I think
it
do slideshow.
is. That what it is? Okay, I'll try
Yeah,
that.
full slideshow. Then you kind of, I think, press.
Okay, and so Ecadore?
Ikeda Hotel. This is approximately, well, it still technically belongs to the region of Istria. It's some 1 hour, let's say, drive when you're trying to go down to the coast and Split and the Dalmatian coast. And this is a new opening, and it's really spectacular. It's, well, my colleagues did a site inspection a few weeks ago, and she literally says she couldn't find anything wrong with it. So it's really impeccable, very posh, very glamorous, very luxurious, but it's also boutique, under 50 rooms. They have great service, and it's on the water. Obviously, they even have their own a riva boat that you can go and explore the North Dalmatian Islands. So it's, I think we kind of feel it as more of a adult only, although it's not. They do extra beds and families and everything, but it's so quiet and it's so upscale, I guess, that you just, once you're here, you just want to relax. So you can combine it with Istria, for example. It's a great idea to combine it with Meneghetti. So you're in a vineyard exploring Istria, you can do some activities en route. This is only an hour from Meneghetti, and then you stay a couple of nights here before continuing down to
obviously you have a balcony with the most stunning views as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that. Okay, so next we're going to talk about one of the beautiful outdoorsy places and some of the things that you can do, you know, active, adventurous while you're there. Tell us about your national parks.
Yes, Plitvice Lakes National Park. Well, it's probably one of the most beautiful national parks in Europe. It has 16 lakes interconnected with waterfalls. So it's really a fairy tale, and it's best visited, I want to say, in spring and in the fall because it has the most water because of the rain. And people usually spend 3-4 hours here, but you can there's a hotel there as well that is good enough for a couple of nights. So okay. More of a rustic cottages in the nature as well, but you can do more in the region. We have a bear refuge. You have that you can visit with kids, and there's even this cool zipline thing. It's called Beware of the Bear, because there's obviously a lot of bears in the area. So then we have also
the name of the zipline.
Beware of the Bear.
Love it, love it. That's awesome.
So it's not in the national park area; it's around, but it's also great, wonderful scenery.
Yeah, and I want to show this picture because I love. Where did it just go? I love this particular picture. Some of my technology capabilities. Yeah, they so it's an overview. Oh, here it is. It's an overview of the national park, I think, and I love how it shows the walkway, right?
Yeah, the pathway, yeah. And that's slippery and dangerous. You have to be careful on those.
Oh, really? But it looks so stunning. I mean, look at all those little waterfalls coming off, and then you can just walk through all of this.
It's just a dream come true. And the best thing about, I mean, the silver lining in all of the COVID situation and everything, last year I had a client, she was alone there.
Really?
Like alone. It used to be very, very busy and crowded. They even did, they kind of limited the hours so it doesn't get overrun with people. Mm-hmm. And they did a really great job considering the fact that it's, state owned. Mm-hmm. But last year it was really quiet, and I think the whole nature simply recovered. So right now, this year, we expect no crowds. We don't expect crowds to be back years to come. So this is really how you would see it, how you would, experience it.
Yes, and it's just stunning. And I know from past trips to Croatia that it's strategic about when there are more people traveling, what times of day that you go to avoid the crowds and sort of maximize your experience in nature while you're not sort of nose to nose with lots of other people.
Correct. Yes. Well, early in the morning is always the best. But if people are, if they're coming to Croatia because of Plitvice Lakes and it's on their bucket list, they have to explore it the proper way, then I would suggest they overnight there. So first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock, there's nobody there. That's what I did with this line. And if not, if it's just on the way, you can do it en route, either from Zagreb down to Split or from Istria down to Split.
Yeah. Well, I like that idea too of spending the night, and that way you're there first thing in the morning before any sort of day people come. That's a great idea. Yeah. Thank you for that tip.
For sure.
Okay. So let's move on to Split.
A Split, yes, correct. You're looking at a living monument of Diocletian's palace. You're looking at the 1700 years old courtyard of a former Roman palace or a villa built by an emperor, Roman Emperor Diocletian. And he was the first one in history of mankind to abdicate, to voluntarily retire from the throne to come and enjoy his little villa in Split. So he was the first one to just escape from it all. They did call him to come back, and he's like, no, I prefer planting in my own cabbage. True story. So he really loved it here, and so do we. This is my hometown, so again, a little biased. And the locals call it the most beautiful town in the world, of course. What else?
Well, it does look, again, it's so European. And so the history of Split is that it's back from what century or what?
It's 1700 years old, so 4th century.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Pretty. So this is original. The columns around are original, and the cathedral, the bell tower, came in the Middle Ages, but behind it is the cathedral, and it's also I think that's how the Split mentality got its beginning. Diocletian was the emperor that abdicated here. It was the biggest persecutor of Christians. And the mausoleum that he built for himself, that was his tomb. He was buried there. And when Christianity was declared official religion in the Roman Empire, when centuries have passed, and other people moved into his palace, Croats, among others, they decided to destroy his sarcophagus, of course, and they made his tomb a cathedral. So we call it the spite of the locals, you know. He wanted to stop them, so this is what we did. We made your tomb a cathedral. So it's also something that keeps the locals going in sports. We have a pretty huge athlete portfolio in the Museum of Sports in Split. So this is something that we're very proud of as well.
Wow. Well, I know also the nice thing about Split is that there are things to do within the city. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about different options there, but then also a little bit more adventurous, active things right out of the city.
Oh, yes. It has a great hinterland, great countryside. There's a Cetina River Canyon right outside the town, some not even 30-minute ride. What we love to do, there's also a zip line over the canyon that is wow. And the Cetina River is also great for rafting. That's very, very popular. And we also have a fun tour called canyoning, which I didn't dare to do, but my colleagues did. I was afraid I'm going to break my leg. It's kind of jumping and jumping in the water. Like you have the instructor, the kids can do it unless you're power dish, but yeah.
So that's one of my family's favorite activities. We've done it in Spain.
Yeah,
we've done it in the Dominican Republic, canyoning. Yes, because you're doing a lot of, you have harnesses, you're doing some climbing, you're also doing some dropping down waterfalls, yes, rappelling off waterfalls, as well as jumping off waterfalls.
You still have all your legs after that?
Yes, we have survived.
Okay.
It's a great thing to do in the summer with kids too. Obviously it's active, plus there's water involved. So for teenagers, college kids, it's a great sort of addition to spend some time in the city and then go to the outskirts and do some fun things like this.
Really, there's an adrenaline rush to it. And it's great because right afterwards in the same area, we have a pretty cool foodie experience, which is actually not all about food. It's also about cultural immersion. We have a local lady that does this presentation of a local dish called soparnik. It's actually a UNESCO protected dish. It's very basic, just dough and Swiss chard and garlic and homemade, her own olive oil. And she doesn't speak a word of English, so she's so nice. Clients will love her. They have the guide with them, obviously, but they help her do that, and she kind of explains the history of it. It's almost 500 years old, the dish. And they do the presentation, and she cooks lunch for them, but something she would literally cook for herself. So it's something she would pick in her own garden. So it's very, very authentic, very local. And I had gluten-free people diving into soparnik. They didn't care, it's dough. It's like, it was so delicious. They're like, we're not going to be gluten-free for the day. So.
Okay, good. Well, then you know it was delicious. And then, so is this one I think is also a picture of from outside of Split. Say yes?
Yes, right outside Split. It's Mount Kozjak and overlooking Split. And this is a food and wine pairing with a private chef and sommelier. These guys are really fun and entertaining, and they're quite characters. Clients adore them, and this is one of our top-rated experiences just because you never know what they're going to do next. It's usually 4 or 5 courses, and clients that are into food, they usually do this market walk with Robbie. He's the celebrity chef, actually. He was a part of a local master chef show as well. And he does a market walk. He shows them how he chooses the ingredients. He fights with the local ladies. He bargains. And so it's kind of very entertaining. And then they tour Split. He runs back to his house. He starts to cook. And then they come along. And Ivan, his friend, he's a sommelier. And this house, the stone-built house that they're having this event at, is actually surrounded by vineyards that are his, and it's his own wine, and they do a whole pairing thing, and it lasts for hours. And I even had it once. The clients did it, and they loved it so much they decided to buy the experience, and give it to their friends that were coming next year as a honeymoon gift.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, they knew they would do it.
I love the description that they're characters. I think for me, finding those sort of really unique, knowledgeable, fun, engaging people around the world, wherever my
unpretentious when it comes to
exactly. Yeah, we don't need the pretension. So fun. Well, I'm going to put that one on my personal list too. But the problem is that obviously everywhere you go, you never have enough time to do everything. So it's hard to choose, which experiences. But this one sounds like a super fun one.
Yes. And it has the wine.
Yeah, and the wine. Yes. Okay. And so here's another hotel that's just going to be opening this year?
Yes, they were actually ready last year, fully ready. We did a site inspection. They were planning to open, July 1st, but everything was so quiet still, so they decided to postpone it. It didn't make any sense. But they have a really great interior. This is a boutique hotel, so they have a fresh and new interior, pretty modern. And they have, I think, 30-something rooms. It's a walking distance from the Old Town, so it's a great location for exploring the Split Old Town. The thing is, if there's one place in all of Croatia where you should stay in the Old Town, it is Split. The vibe and living out on the streets, this is where you want to be. This is not a place for a remote resort, because you're not going to experience the town. So other than that, this would be 4-star boutique, 4+. But other than that, Split kind of lacks strong properties. But as I said, the destination really makes up for it. So if you use a suite in a hotel like this, their clients are going to be super happy, and we fill their day with so many fun activities. So they don't even have time to focus on anything else. And after Split, we usually take them on the boat and out on the water to explore islands, so they don't mind being in a boutique place without the beach or a view or something.
Right. So. And so would you say, what's an ideal number of nights to stay in Split?
Oh, if you want to do all this fun package of stuff, there's more. There's horseback riding. We even have a find your inner Indiana Jones kind of experience, where they go out on the excavation site and they dig with a professional archaeologist. So there's there are Krka waterfalls, which is similar to Plitvice, just smaller. So if you want to experience more, 3 nights, I would say, is a minimum. But I want to say most people do 3 in Istria and 2 in Split, and just run through to the islands. So it really depends. And also, if you're doing May and October touring, whereas there's not so much beach weather, then you can stay definitely longer, even 3-4 nights in Split to experience it all.
Okay. I think I'm going to push for 10 days or 14 days in Croatia.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. So here's just the beginning of the first of the 1,100 islands off the coast of Croatia. Tell us about Hvar.
Yes, Hvar is most popular, and it's the sunniest place in Europe, when the largest number of sunny hours in a day. So this is really literally a sunny place. So it's the most popular island. Everybody goes there. Everybody loves it. It's kind of a yacht destination. It can be posh. It can be kind of a yachty place. And it's also a party place. They have a lot of beach clubs, beach bars. They had Ultra Music Festival here as well. But Hvar is much more than that. It's a historic island. You have UNESCO sites. You have wonderful local rural estate where we do cooking class. You can have a meal in the abandoned village. You can do a lavender tour as well. It used to be one of the biggest lavender producers in Europe. So there's much more than just, partying. And partying is pretty much set on these remote islands that you see right behind Hvar. They're called Patlani Islands. So party people don't make too much noise. It's still far enough from the old town. And this is really the place to be in the summer.
Well, it looks beautiful. This looks like it's a picture probably right about at sunset. So
Yeah.
I imagine with lots of beach clubs and beach bars that the night lasts into.
Yes, the night lasts. But in the old town, they kind of limit it until 2 a.m. So it's not too bad. And you have a lot of nice restaurants there. So it's kind of lively, but it's not, unbearably loud or anything. So it's still, okay. I had retired people enjoying it. So.
Okay, good. And so what about beach clubs, beach bars? Do you have any favorites in or near Hvar?
Over here, there's Carpe Diem, like seize the day. That's where I spent my birthday a couple of years ago. I'm born in July, and that's always a problem because we're working so much and I never celebrated. So my husband literally stole me from the office for the weekend, and we went to Carpe Diem. It's the music all day. You're right on the water, great cocktails. You have the wood, like the pine forest behind you. These islands, Patlani Islands, are not inhabited, so you just have a couple of bars and a couple of nice restaurants. I did a wedding for clients there on the water, and I did a proposal on a nice beach right below this restaurant. So it can also be romantic, and I want to say Carpe Diem. And there's also one more. It's called Laganini. It means like slowly. Take it slowly. And it's a beach bar, but it's also like a bistro restaurant kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this is where our clients would have lunch, and the skipper in the morning would be like, they've gone from Split to Hvar is only an hour. So that's direct cruising. Once they're in Patlani, they discover their beaches. So he's like, are you more for, like a long meal with wine? Are you for a quick eat, or whatever they feel like in the mood for the day? He chooses the right place for them. So.
And, I think this is, we'll talk about chartering a boat in a few minutes, but this is one of those places when you go to Europe, it's different than perhaps when you go to the Caribbean and charter a boat, because there's so much culture and there's so many good restaurants that are all so unique and different that
it's not just the beach.
Yeah. And you won't want to have 3 meals a day on your boat, right? You'll want to, perhaps wake up and have lunch, but then wake up and have breakfast, have lunch while you're walking around, and then maybe go to a fun beach bar or a great restaurant for dinner.
It's almost a shame to eat on the boat all the time.
Yeah.
Regardless how the chef is good.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Oh, well, here we are. We're going to talk about some boating.
These little coves with azure seas. It's really gorgeous. And the thing is that no matter how busy Croatia can get, I mean, personally, I like busy. I like the hustle and bustle, and I wouldn't want to be in Hvar in December when there's nobody. So regardless of how busy it is, once you're out on Patlani Islands, you feel like, you have the island to yourself.
Really?
So that's what I appreciate the most.
And what do you suggest for people if they're, I have another picture I want to show you. Actually, where is it? What do you suggest for people, if they want to go out on a boat? There's lots of day boats that we could put them on to, go and explore lots of islands, which I absolutely would suggest for essentially any Croatia itinerary. It could just be for a day, or it could be for a couple of days, or you could stay in one place and kind of go out to different islands each day, or you could kind of hop from island to island. What are your thoughts?
Well, there are different types of boats and different kinds of experiences. If you want to charter a boat, like a regular charter, it is always 7 nights minimum, Saturday to Saturday. And these are catamarans that are sailing boats. These are gulets, those traditional wooden boats that come from Turkey. They're very popular for family vacations and multi-generational trips because you're all together, but then you can escape from it all if you need to. Yep. Escape from your family after a week, I want to say yes. But also, we've learned that for American clients and in general for overseas clients, they prefer a little faster pace than that. It's not like a European clientele where they can literally linger on the boat for a week. Americans can't do that normally. So what we do is we've purchased some of the boats and registered them in a way that you can register them for not just charter, but also their daily touring and transfers. And in that way, you can have more people on the boat. For example, you can have 10 or 12 people on the boat, And this boat is usually, you can sleep 4 or 6, but you can have up to 10 people or 12 people for daily touring. This is good in terms of the boat is still fast enough and it's small enough to reach all these hidden coves. And in this way, we do this island hopping. So you can do it for a shorter period of time, for a short amount of time. You can do 3 or 4 nights and stay in hotels. And it doesn't have to be Saturday to Saturday, and it doesn't have to be 7 days. So it really depends what you want to do and how much time you have. Ideally, if you want your 2 weeks to be fast-paced and relaxed, you can do a week in Zagreb and Istria and Plitvice, and then I have a week on board. Or if you just have like 10 days and you want to, see it all and come back for a fully relaxed holiday, then you can do a bit of Istria, a bit of Split and Dubrovnik, and in between just 3-4 nights on the boat, circling around islands.
Yes, I think the number one thing to know is that if you're coming to Croatia, you should spend some time on the water, on this gorgeous sea.
Even if it's not beach weather, it's almost always sunny and beautiful, and this is how you really get away from it all. There are some more remote islands that are, for example, Vis. It's a day trip from Hvar, so further down to Italian coast, so to say. It was closed as a military base for so many years during Yugoslavia, and they opened it, I think, when Tito died. So it's like in the 80s. So it was closed for so many years, and the life there remained intact. So people are like, it's very frozen in time moment. And it's very Mediterranean, very authentic, and you don't feel like you're in Croatia anymore. It's just like a different world out there, and people love it. So you want to have time for that. You don't want to miss it. You just don't want to rush through nations.
And I think that the prevailing feeling is that people, as we start to travel again, will travel a little bit more slowly, so they won't be interested in going one night here, one night there, right? And to see everything. It's more about enjoying where you are. But I think that's why boats are so special, because you're sort of staying on the same boat, but yet you're seeing a lot. So it's a great addition to a Croatia itinerary for sure. And I know you and I could talk for 6 hours, but at some point in a few minutes, we're going to have to stop. So I'm going to keep us going through. Tell us about.
You can call me back and we'll continue.
Right, you and I will just keep talking.
Yes, Montenegro resort.
So another new hotel. You guys have a lot of new hotels. So tell us.
A lot of new openings, yes. This one was also ready last year. This is a kind of a mindful luxury resort. That's how they call it. It's on the other side of the Hvar town. Hvar Island has also the Hvar town, and that's where all the hustle and bustle is. But if you have families or people that are not necessarily into partying or hustle and bustle, this is where they should stay. It's kind of there's a Zen moment to it. A very relaxing. The interior, it's very blended into the nature. It's all in wood, and it's very they call it mindful luxury. So I guess that's what it is. And it's on the beach, so it's great for families. They even have 3 of the resort villas that are 4 and 5 bedrooms, so it can be great for larger families.
Okay, well, it looks again stunning, and another gorgeous balcony that overlooks the water. So
we love our balconies.
We'll happily go there. Okay. Oh, okay. And the oyster. So this is
your part.
This is one of my favorite experiences in Croatia. Tell us about this one.
Yes. So from Hvar, you would go by boat to Pedestals Peninsula, which is right here, and it's actually the most famous wine region. This is where Plavac Mali is from. That's connected to Zinfandel by DNA. So it's actually a very special place, and you have even some American-owned wineries on Pedestals, like Grgic. He was the one who started the whole story between Zinfandel and Plavac Mali. And also in this area of Mali Stone Bay, which is closer to the mainland, you have the waters that are ideal for oyster farming. And our experience, take the oyster farm tour with a local farmer, takes clients out on the water in this traditional basic boat, and he would literally pick the oysters. He would take them fresh from the sea for clients to taste them, and then he has a private island in this bay with no electricity, with no facilities, very basic. And this is where he cooks a very simple Dalmatian dish called buzara. It's like mussels with olive oil and very simple, super delicious, and clients enjoy that. It's like a light lunch after the wine tasting.
That looks magical. Okay, so let's look at another new opening.
Yes, this was like a luxury villa, and it's all suites, so it's only 8 suites, and they started it as a hotel from this year. This is actually American owned. The Andersons are from the US, I think from Minnesota. So this is a winery with their own vineyards around and a beautiful, gorgeous, historic house that they did a extensive renovation in. It's very posh and upscale, and the decor is heavy and classical. It's borderline kitsch, but it looks amazing. It's just
Yeah.
stunning. Everything is so impeccable. Even the forks are a masterpiece. So it's really a great place. And surprisingly enough, Pedestals Peninsula is one of my favorite beach destinations. Like their beaches and the colors are unbelievable. So the clients can stay here for a full week if they want and explore the wines and wine and oysters and islands around. You can have the boat in front of the hotel, docked, and just run around the islands and come back and stay in this beautiful hotel.
Sounds amazing. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about Dubrovnik. Obviously, super famous and beautiful.
Super famous, yeah. Usually no special introduction. It's the highlight of every trip to Croatia, undeniably. I was just there last week for site inspections, and no matter how many times you see these city walls, it always has that like wow effect. It is just spectacular. So it's really beautiful without the crowd since last year, proudly. No cruise ships this year announced, so it's not as busy. And it's definitely the highlight of every trip to Croatia. So it's also a mecca for Game of Thrones lovers, as it was used as a King's Landing in this popular HBO show. And we even have actually the guide that worked on the set. So if you want a Game of Thrones insiders gossip, we have the right person for that.
Excellent. We love that. And so this, I think, is one of your top hotels in Dubrovnik. Tell us a little bit about
Yeah, Dubrovnik has probably the best hotels in Croatia. Their level of hospitality is way ahead of the rest of Croatia. So Excelsior is my favorite because I'm a location snob, I guess. So it's only 5-minute walk from the ramparts. So it has the best view in the city. The Excelsior Hotel has these signature suites that are corner suites, and you can see the ramparts and the Adriatic Sea from every corner of the room, even the bathtub. So it's very modern, but still kind of, part of it is a historic building as well. So this is the place to stay when in Dubrovnik.
Okay, well, we love that. Not every hotel has to be a new hotel. And quite frankly, you have so many new hotels, you could fill up your whole time there just with new hotels, but you already have a beautiful base of hotels. And so a lot of people, when they come to Croatia, want to go to Montenegro. Would you say, I know some people try to sort of squeeze it in a day trip, but I think a little bit more sort of space is needed. What is your sort of expert opinion as far as...
We've done it, but because of the whole hassle at the border, you are still entering a different country. So it's not European Union. It's not like you can rush through it. Sometimes it takes a while, an hour even. And if you do that in a day, it's kind of strenuous. And I don't think it is very close, actually. The border is only an hour from Dubrovnik, so it's not impossible. But then if you have the wait in the morning and the full day with cramped activities, and then the border, in the evening, it can be a very long day. Yeah. So I want to say you want to appreciate it more. And luckily, we have some great new openings there too. So some wonderful hotels that we can offer from this year, like One and Only. Yes, they are opening May 1st officially. So they're right now in soft opening phase. We've done the site inspection recently, and it's spectacular. It's really a wonderful, full luxurious full service resort with 6 swimming pools. I think they even have their own private beach, which they brought sand from Turkey or Egypt. So everyone and only in the world has the sand from the very same beach. So it's very
I didn't know. Okay. Well, I love One and Only hotels in general, their whole philosophy and their warmth. I think their service level is obviously, at the top, but they're also just a very warm, unpretentious, welcoming feel at their hotels. We skipped over these gorgeous photos, which...
oh, yes. This is what you would miss if you do only a day tour in Montenegro. Yeah. So you can tour Boca Bay, which is the highlight, I want to say, of coastal Montenegro, and these 2 little islands in the bay. You can also tour Skadar Lake that has some great wineries, and there's obviously a lot of history because there was always a big tour between Serbian and Orthodox religion, Croats and Catholic, and even Muslim. So it's very, very, you can do some great cultural touring here as well. And,
okay.
A lot of history.
And I do think, I mean, when you have a place like One and Only to stay, why go for the day, right?
Exactly. At least for 2 nights.
Yeah. The last photo we have up is of a boat. So this is just one example of the many different types of boats that you can take all around the islands.
Correct. I would say this is like the best example of what you can do. This one has 3 cabins, but we only sell 2 comfortably. So, you know, a couple with 2 kids or 2 couples, this is ideal. So you can sleep on it, of course. But if you don't feel like sleeping in cabins because they're too small and you just don't like, you know, it's wobbly or something, if you're seasick, you can still use it for day touring. It's huge enough, it's comfortable enough, and it's fast enough to take you anywhere. So you can do only 3-4 nights in Dalmatia.
Yeah. And I love that idea. I mean, originally, I think when I first was sending people to Croatia, it was like, if you're going to, a lot of people go there wanting to go on a boat and wanting to go island hopping. And you introduced me to the concept of doing that, but actually staying on the islands in a hotel, because there's so many beautiful hotels and you're going to be out there eating dinner anyway. So I love that you could do.
You might as well, yeah.
Right? And so you get that extra comfort, that extra space. I personally love boats. I love fitting into tiny spaces and having a compartment for every single thing you can imagine.
Well, what if it moves? I'm like, is this moving? I'm like, very. Did someone say wave?
Yes. Well, so if we, you know, as we sort of close this up, I always like talking about over the top things. I do want to ask you about one experience that I have on my list, but I'm curious if you know much about it. There's a place to go cliff jumping. I think it's either, is that where it is? Up in the north. It looks like it's near Premantura.
Oh, it's in Istria. Yeah, you can do that. Well, we have a lot of cliffs that you can jump. I did it in Split. So okay. Premantura, yes, it's great. It's, well, Istria that's another great thing about it. It's very outdoorsy. So in Premantura, where you can obviously go cliff jumping, you can do a great hike because the southernmost part of it, the Cape Kamenjak, is all rocks and crystal clear blue waters. So you have your hike that is right in the nature. It's very, like, cars cannot access it. People cannot, you know, only camping. So Istria is very quiet on that side. Like, you can really find something, you know, the great outdoors that can wow you. So.
And there's caves down there too, I think, right?
There are caves too. I swam in one of them with my daughter, and the jellyfish were all around us. So it was a crazy experience. They're not dangerous. They're just, you know, weird to look at. But it's very different kind of coast than the Dalmatian coast. It almost resembles more of Italy because it's so close to, you know, to the northern Italy. Whereas the Dalmatian coast is like more jagged, so to say. So more islands there.
Okay. And you have the opportunity for all sorts of water sports, including, I think, stand-up paddleboarding. There's a whole slew of places all along the coast that you can do that. And one other little restaurant that I have on my list to go to down near where this cliff jumping caves are is called Safari Bar. Have you ever been there?
Oh my God. Yes, I know it. Yes. Well, I have family actually in Istria, and they took us to Safari Bar. It's all in like ropes, and it's a very kind of boho feeling, Ibiza feeling too. So you literally feel like at the end of the world as we know it, but in a good way. So.
Okay. Well, that's where I'm going when I come. I've got a long list.
You bring your hiking boots because the cars can't go there.
Absolutely. No problem. It's like a lot of my clients are a combination of, they love being active, they love relaxing and enjoying great food and having good wine, but they also love
all that food. You have to walk it off. So
absolutely. You're right. Okay. So over the top, let's talk about over the top before we go. Obviously, taking a yacht, your own personal yacht, to drop you off throughout the week is an over-the-top experience. And I know those can go from sort of entry level up to, you know, $100,000 for the week.
Exactly. Plus expensive.
What about the One and Only? I would say probably has a room. What room would you say would be sort of the over-the-top room at One and Only?
Well, I love their presidential suite. It's called Suite One. It has a huge like outdoor dining area and the swing and everything. But the most out of this world and over the top is their private villas or their private homes, which you can actually buy and rent. They also have their own beaches. So this is the only villa that I know that is a resort villa that has private pool and private beach right below it. And they're about 20,000 euros a night. So that's a lot.
Got it.
But it's 3 or 4 rooms plus some staff room for the butler, and they bring breakfast from the hotel, obviously. So
okay, and I don't think we talked about maybe we did the Amman. Tell us about that one.
Amman is completely different. It's price-wise, it's similar to One and Only, and in certain times of year can be even more expensive. But it's a completely different. So One and Only. The only thing that it kind of perhaps lacks is the sense of place, because it's such a huge resort. In Boca Bay, with these sandy beaches that are not natural, so they're man-made. So for the locals, you don't expect, it's almost a lake-like scenery in the bay. But Amman, on the other hand, is you exit Boca Bay by road, you drive for almost an hour, and the scenery completely changes. It flattens, and you start seeing sandy beaches, golden sand all around. So that part is really beautiful. Unfortunately, it has a lot of infrastructure, a lot of buildings right now that it's not as pretty, a lot of hotels, a lot of new investment, obviously. But then once you come to the Amman, this is it, because that's a former 15th century fisherman village that's converted into a hotel. So literally you have Piazza restaurant. Piazza is a square. It used to be a square in the village, and now you're having your breakfast there. It has that historic and authentic feeling. So it's different from One and Only. It's not that kind of luxury. It's not that posh. It's more rustic decor, more traditional, more minimalist, so to say. But it blends well with the environment because it is a cottage. So you're staying in a stone-built house. So it also has it comprises of 3 bays and 3 different beaches that at certain time can even look pink. Okay. So it's like a really natural sandy beach. Then you have the island part, you have the villa part that's suites only, like 6 suites. Also very boutique and quiet, and services obviously great. And in the 3rd bay, you have the Amman spa with a huge plunge pool. So it's ideal for relaxation. So I want to say that in One and Only, you can spend a week exploring the resort and doing some day trips. And Amman is ideal ending of a longer and a busy tour, just to do nothing. So it really depends what you're looking for. And I already have clients that do the combo of the 2.
Yeah.
Because
and then if you're going to combo that with a hotel in Dubrovnik, tell us about I know you have a favorite place there as well because it has stunning views.
Oh, yes, the Excelsior suite, exactly. The view from the bathtub. So you can take a bath and look at Dubrovnik, ramparts. So it's just out of this world. I love it. It overlooks the Adriatic, but it also, I'm a history buff, so I guess that looking at something that old and that spectacular always brings goosebumps. So I want to say their Excelsior signature suite would be, the over the top. And I want to mention one more that I personally love. It's also in Istria. Pula is the main town in Istria, and it has an amphitheater. It's called the Arena, and we can do a private tour of the amphitheater without the crowds. This is something that I want to say Rome lacks. I mean, obviously, I guess you can rent the Colosseum for yourself, but maybe not in everybody's price range. Yes, exactly. And Pula's amphitheater is smaller. I think Colosseum is the largest, and Pula is 6th in the world or something like that. But it's better preserved. It has all the 3 rows preserved, so you can feel really the history talk there. So I want to say that, if you want to splurge somewhere, I do it for like small luxury groups that are 6 or 10 people. I even did like a dinner for like 50. It's a huge amphitheater. It can fit, obviously. It's a concert venue as well, so it's really big. But for like 30 people, and you do like a glass tent, so it's really.
Oh, I would like to go to a concert there, actually. That sounds like it would be.
I did several times, and it just, don't bring your heels like I did. That was stupid because it's where the gladiators fought, so it's not very posh. It's still original. It's very rocky, so.
Well, I think so. That's one good point is that, all of, these beautiful places, many throughout Croatia, can be done on an exclusive private basis. And that's why we love our relationship with you, because you give us access to all those amazing places. So let's say before we wrap up, kind of some takeaway tips. Best time of year to come. Most people love to travel to Europe in the summer. That comes with crowds. Would you say sort of like late or early summer, late spring and early fall?
Ideally, I want to say June and September. People don't expect, because there are no crowds yet. Kids are still in school, obviously, so the beaches are not as crowded. But May and October are also great for cultural touring, not necessarily getting out to the islands or just for the day. And but July and August are obviously great because it's the best weather you can get.
And it's fun. The beach clubs are popular.
Yeah, everything's popular. Everything's open. This is what you want to do. So it really depends. If you're coming with kids, you want to avoid that, obviously. But getting a private boat, even the smallest one for any budget, taking you around the beaches and having your private skipper that can read your mind and do whatever you want to do, I think that takes you away from the crowds, and that's why we're actually most proud of, because we bring not only the exclusive and the posh Croatian part, it's also the authentic and the way it is. We show the Croatia that we love.
Absolutely.
Love, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I love working with you. So
thank
you so much, Dolores. This has been a pleasure as always. I am super excited to send people back to Croatia.
Australia is fine too. They can find it. It's not that close, but
nor is Australia open. But back to Croatia, back to Europe, and I can't wait to get back there myself. So
please, we'll love to have you.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be calling. Thank you again, and take care.
No problem.